Hello, how are you? I'm Helen Sattler, your Destiny Helper. I am so glad to be with you on this morning as you begin to come in. It is such an honor and a privilege to be with you, answering your questions and giving you updated information. I applaud many of you for the things that you're going through. Is really tremendous for you to be able to go through the things you're going through. Hello, New Beginning, all the way from Australia. Hello, Australia. How are you? So glad to have you on board this morning. I miss seeing you, miss talking with you, and I find it a great honor to be with you all on this morning. Thank you so much for being with me. Let me appropriate myself here. There you go. Thank you for being with me. Good, good, good. Doing well. Thank you so much. We're getting ready to talk about some things. We are going to talk about the mind this morning, the fog mind. Many of you know what that is like. Hello there. Good morning. Good morning, Rajay. How are you? So glad to have you aboard. Thank you for coming on with me. It is nice and crisp in Seattle and dealing with the subject topic that we're going to deal with on this morning because many of you are finding it very difficult, especially those of you who say that you have just been freshly discarded or you're new at being discarded or you walked away and you are now struggling. Good morning, good morning. Just seeing you on Facebook. Yes, ma'am, I was there, Lynette, on Facebook. Thank you for being there with me and coming on here. Rajay, love your teaching. Thank you so much. I am so glad to be there to teach. She said, good morning. Message you by email. Oh, struggle with blocking the narcissist. I finally blocked the narcissist this morning. Oh, girl, I'm giving you a hug. You got a big, big hug for me. But remember what I told you. Demi, go on my Facebook and go under Messenger and leave me the information that I told you previously, and let's talk. Let's talk about it. You need strength, and we're here to strengthen you. You're going to do well. When you're freshly discarded, it is a struggle. You got to remember the narcissist is not a regular relationship. We're used to damaged relationship, bad relationship, but we're not used to where relationships that actually affect us physically, mentally. It affects every area of your life, spiritually, physically, and mentally. Spiritually, because the narcissist is going to pull you away from God. They're going to do that in order to get control. They're going to do it mentally because he wants control of your mental factors. Wherever your mind is, your body goes. Then he won't control of your body, because what he wants you to do physically, you will do. So the narcissists want to be the God of your life. They want total control, and you have absolutely no control. You may be strong-willed, but in my practice and sessions, I have seen strong-willed people who will not leave the narcissist eventually broke down to the level that the narcissist won't. The narcissist is going to break down your mind. He's going to break down your thoughts. He's going to break down the imagery, the very projection of who you think you are. He's going to change that. He's going to change the direction of the mind, the flow of the mind. And they're going to do it with different measures: gaslighting, stonewalling, trauma bonding, fog, confusion, lies, deception, and especially that trauma bonding, because you can fall out of love with somebody, fall in love with somebody, but you're not going to fall out of trauma. Trauma going to go with you even when they are long gone. The trauma is still there. Uh, yes, that's a big step forward. Absolutely, new beginning. Thank you. Demetrius is taking bold, audacious steps, and we applaud her. And we know that when you initially take those steps, you go through a series of changing. You've been with the narcissist. I know people have been with the narcissist 3 months. It took them 3 years to get over 3 months. This is how much damage they do. And then we're going to do a teaching. You can go on my daughter's YouTube. She's already done it, and I'm going to do it. She did a teaching on the brain, how the effects of the brain. The narcissist affects the brain. You go to the doctor and it can be diagnosed, the damaging effects. that the narcissists have on the brain. So they are not good. Long-term relationship with the narcissist is damaging. It's pollution. It's malignancy. It's malignancy to your dignity. It's malignancy to your character. It's malignancy to the children. Um, so you in that fog, you know how you driving down the street, and based on the thickness of the fog, that's the distance you see. When that fog is so thick, you cannot see in front of you. Ali, hello there. She said, yeah, it is incredible. It is incredible. You can't see in front of you. Some of you have just got into you and the fog has started, so you can still see a little bit, but you are noticing changes in your mentality. You're noticing more toleration of the narcissist. You used to say, that's a no-go. We ain't doing that. No, I'm not having that. And you're finding now you're having some of that. You know what I mean? He's getting or she's getting away with more. The female narcissists deal more in the emotional side. They both play game. The male narcissists deal with pulling your love out. The female narcissists deal more with enticing you into love, because men are very visual and women soon learn that. So the female narcissists appear to the sight zone of man to get to his mind. The male narcissists appeal to the feel zone of a woman to get to her heart, to get to her mind. Because once a woman feels that a man loves her and that he cares for her, she would do anything for him. I am so sorry for fixing myself in front of you. I just want to make sure I'm appropriate here. Uh, but the feel zone, and what we feel we'll fight for. You feel like you love the narcissist. The narcissist enter a realm of psychosemantics, and what happens is they start telling you what you are that you approve of. She said, hi, you are so right. Yes, Michelle. Yes, it is right. And they appeal to you. That's why you think they are perfect. That's why you think you're in love. That's why you think that there's no one else. If you notice, once you think you're in love, you just don't fall in love with the narcissist. You start thinking there's nobody else in the whole world for you but the narcissist. And then the more they idealize you, I'm telling you, if we can get this love bombing, what happened in the love, but that's the whole relationship. Everything was based on that. Your confidence, you fall out of love, but like a drug, you always want the initial high. Because I've known people who fell in love with a narcissist and they look like big frogs with shoes on, or they look like an alligator with 10 toes. Come on. And they are looking in the mirror saying, what's wrong with me? And they look at him. Come on now. They cause hostility just looking at them. And then you wonder why you can't get away, because they have affected you internally. They have affected your emotions. They have sent codes to your brain. The psychological fog is tremendous because your mind go into cognizant dissonance. And what it does, it fools you into thinking things. And that's why the narcissists love bomb you, traumatize you, love bomb you, because you confuse the mind. The mind is all confused until now love is pain. And so if you think love is pain and you want to be in love, you don't see a reason for leaving you, because it's love. It's painful, but it's love. So adaptability start coming in and you start adapting, you start adjusting. This is not even somebody you want. And just think if you come in and you get a narcissist, and I mean they are good looking. We're going to talk about the 4 types of narcissists that you would deal with. They are handsome. She's gorgeous. I mean, the love is good. The sex is good. They're gifting you everything you want. In the beginning, that's the way it is. Anything to hook you. When you go fishing, every fish don't use the same bait. And the bigger the fish and the more rare the fish, the more rare the bait. You have to go where that particular fish is, and you got to have that bait that that particular fish will bite. Just like there's different narcissists, there's different supply, and different supply requires different love bombing. So what you got to do is get into that person's emotion, see what they are like, feel what they're like. And that's why the narcissist gets you to tell off on yourself. You get there, you tell them all of this stuff, and you're all relaxed and you're having this conversation. They're manipulators in conversation because you're going to tell them who you are. You're going to tell them what you want. You're going to tell them the pain, what you're not going to do, how where you've been. And the narcissist is going to take full advantage of that. Yes, cognitive dissonance. She said, did not realize this type of effect was on the brain. It is horrible, and it can be where they can pick it up on x-ray or MRI. She said, I'm so glad that God sent you to me. She said, I have been severely depressed for over 5 years. I'm telling you, life does. You have a life after the narcissist. You got life after torment. You got life after pain. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you're going to leave the narcissist and get over it. You're not. Don't let anybody tell you that. The only way that happened is they didn't trap you. They didn't trap your mind. They didn't get your hormonal levels off balance. I mean, you ain't got all this cortisol running in your body where you don't know what to do anymore. I mean, you don't know whether to be happy because that can change in an instant. Then you don't know whether to be sad because that won't keep them. They get negative few, but they love to be praised. They love for you to focus on them, to tell them how wonderful they are, how magic they are. They love for you to look in their eyes and tell them you're the only one in the whole world. Then you go outside, there's 30 million people out there. They are the only one. Come on, that's what the narcissist want. The narcissist is a trained human vessel to me by a demonic force. I'm talking about the spirit side. I'm not talking about the professional side. Because if it wasn't the money, what person gets you to drop you, to love you? And they don't love you, they love bomb you. And the love bombing is how much you love yourself. And when they get you to love yourself and they pull all that love out, and what it is, it's what you want. You portray that to them. They turn it into a package of love and get that feel zone going. And they take and mirror all of that back to you. Honey, that's you. That's your love. That's your ability to love. And that's why they love empaths. But 21st century supply is different because, you know, they stressed out. They done been through so much already. She said the ex was not my type in any way, but still he sucked me in with the love bombing and stayed there for 9 years. Whoa. Until I woke up and didn't know who I was anymore. Girl, see, this is what I'm talking about. And Melissa said, they don't even have to be rare, but they sure make you think they are. You know, they don't. They don't. Because you got to remember, there is a force working with them. You're not working with them by themselves. You're not having a relationship where it's you and them. You and him. It's you and them. There is a force that's with them. You got to remember this is a personality disorder. Something that's happened to cave in all emotions, to lock it out, and that is in prison. They shut that down, and they've learned to exist without that emotion. That the only emotion positive has now become getting it from another source, what they call fuel. They don't call that love. They call that fuel. And once you stop fueling them, your purpose for them leaves. You have now expired. When a narcissist refuses to get fuel from you, some women say, well, I just stonewall him. I got gray rock him. And he's not going to stay. He's there for fuel. This is not a regular human. A regular human, you stop talking to them. They'll do anything when they love you. They will do anything to get you to talk again. He go and triangulate. He go get fuel somewhere else. And he don't want you to go because you belong to him. Because most narcissists feel like they got this love power that will trap you forever and that you will never leave. That once they make love to you, your brain calls their name. Even when you in the store shopping, they believe that you belong to them. They believe the blood that run through your vein is from them. They believe that. And they believe that you are so addicted until you can't make it without them. You can't live without them. You can't be without them. That is a narcissistic belief. Narcissists believe that. She said, I am tired mentally, physically, emotionally. I just want to get some sleep without him bothering me in my dreams. Oh, yep. I did a video on that. Please go to my videos and access that. Please go to my videos and access that. Um, because they affect your subconscious, your unconscious level, and your conscious level. She said, oh, yes, I got asked my favorite color and hobbies, and I didn't know anymore. I knew his favorite color and hobby, but not mine. See, a narcissist is there to take over. They are not negotiators. They don't go to the table to negotiate. They go to the table to appear to negotiate. But they are there to take over. They are there to find out how to dominate, how to rule. When they do their dockets, everything on their docket is turned toward them, never toward you. On a business deal, like narcissists in businesses, the reason they do good in business, they are shrewd. They have no emotion. They don't think about the other person, and they bombard their way in, and they don't stop. Just like when they are word sallying you, and they're just confusing you. When they talk to you, they keep coming back, saying the same thing, asking you the same question. Then you answer the question. Then they turn that question around. You never get an answer. You never conclude with a narcissist. They're never going to take your answer. And when you are asleep, the narcissist, if you notice your narcissist, the lower narcissists sometimes deal with so much depression, just like the lower grade mid narcissists may deal with depression. And when they deal with depression, they may sleep, through the day, and they can't keep a job. They are unstable. But most narcissists don't need a lot of sleep because they're working with an entity. They're working with a force. And this force keeps them awake. It keeps them energized because as long as they got fuel, they got energy, and their energy is endless. It is endless. That's why triangulating, a narcissist can sleep with you, sleep with your sister, sleep with 3 other women, sleep with a guy. It doesn't matter. And then they come back, they still got energy for you. Why? Because they are triangulating. They need fuel. Fuel would put fuel in a car, will run that car. As long as there's gas in the car, it will run. And we fail sometimes to realize really what we're dealing with. These bad boys, bad girls are designed for your tear down. They are there to tear your system down. They are there to ruin you. Everyone who killed themselves behind a narcissist, the narcissists get this tremendous amount of fuel. That's why the longer you stay with them, they start looking younger and you start looking older. They start getting energy. You start getting less energy. You start going into depression. You are fighting to survive. Your everyday tasks take a lot of energy. It takes a lot of work, your everyday tasks, because they absorb all of your energy. She said, you are welcome here. She said, I had experienced that firsthand. Yes. She said, this is an awesome breakdown. Yes, ma'am. The narcissist, is unfortunate. I really applaud all of you that are on here that survive. It is not easy. Not everyone I advised made it. They couldn't leave. They couldn't leave him. They couldn't leave him. It was dangerous for them, and they couldn't leave it. And they met their end. And the narcissist is still doing what they're doing. That's why I'm so adamant to tell the truth. And sometimes I know some of you don't like it. You don't like the truth because that fog, that brain fog, will keep the truth from you. And that's why they bounce you from chaos, and then they grandiosity, then it goes chaos to adulation, chaos to trauma, from chaos to trauma, because they need to get you used to being traumatized. Because if you can get used to trauma, they can have a long-term relationship, and you are a primary source of fuel. They can always come back for fuel because you have learned and have been trained to handle the trauma. The kids handle the trauma, the grandkids handle the trauma, because your brain fog will fight for them. Stockholm syndrome, you fight for the predator. You won't let anybody touch them. When they tell you they're going to leave, then you start making sure they don't leave. She said, yep, he slept with new supply under our roof while I was crying at the other end of the house. She said nothing happened, but still, the triangulation is so painful. I thought she was a friend in need. Oh my God. She said, if you survive them, you must have some kind of connection with God. Yes, ma'am. Rajay says, thank you. Yeah. Yes, you have to have strength. You have to be compelled to go beyond the norm, because you don't have a normal relationship. So you got to have the strength to. That's why I'm an advocate of reading. Feed your mind. Feed it, feed it, feed it, feed it. Constantly put positive enforcement in your mind, because your mind is going to be traumatized. Your mind is going to go through something, and you're going to need something to help your mind bounce back when you are there with the narcissist. And most of you had a love for this narcissist. You never knew a love like that. You never even knew that you can love someone like that. And I mean, they put you on top of the world and snatch you down suddenly. You never know when it's going to go to pleasantry or when it's going to go to chaos. Monday, everything was fine. The food you cooked, they loved it. You were number one eights. Then Tuesday, they hate the food. They can't stand the food. So your brain get this fog because the mixed messages keep coming. It keep coming. It keep coming. And your brain wants out, but your heart said, don't let me out. Your heart said, he'll change. Your heart said, she'll change. Your heart said, give me one more day with them. Your heart said, I'll change them. I'll be everything they want me to be. And then I'll change them. And when you become everything they want you to be, they still leave. They still discard. And even though the narcissists have different characters, different personality, different economic status, different cultures, different mindset. Some of them are psychopathic. Some of them have social discrepancies. Some of them are poor. Some of them are wealthy. Some of them are perverted. Some of them are malignant, and they are murderers. And if they tell you you're going to do something, you better believe it. And so you got all of these narcissists, and they're coming in. Well, the narcissists specialize their love bombing according to the supply. And you write out your resume when you are with them, and your resume tell them your job description, what you will be to them, because the narcissist can kind of pick up when you're going to give them problem. So you'll be a secondary source. You won't be a primary source, because they know that you cause too much injury. And then some of them know that you're the type that they're going to hit every now and then, so they put you on the shelf. And then some of them, they rank you in the third order, and you keep going down the order based on the supply you release. That new supply gets the most attention. That new supply gets the most trauma. When the narcissist spend more time with you than any other person, the reward for being with the narcissist, male or female, the reward for spending time with them, copious time with them, is torture. They're going to torture. You must torture them the most, because their whole goal is to get that Stockholm syndrome locked down into you. And so your brain is so foggy. Your brain is crying out for help, because what happened is the more time you spend with that narcissist, eventually you have no idea what your reality is anymore. You don't know what's real anymore. You look in the mirror and you touch in the mirror because you don't know whether you are real anymore. The person you were, you don't know that person anymore. They left. They left with the narcissist. And the narcissist see you changing. They see your characteristic changing. They see your standards changing. And once you conform into what they want, they start locking in another source, because they know the trauma that you stand. In order for you to do long-term survival mode, they're going to have to back up off of you. There is something that the narcissist does, and they call it the stranger in the house, because he go to a silent mode. And a lot of the silence is not for you always. Some of the silence is so the narcissist can reserve his energy, because to torment you and to discard you take a lot of energy to discard you, because they're going to devalue you. You haven't heard the things that can come out of narcissist's mouth toward you, and how ungrateful you are, how it's all your fault, how you just devalued and gaslighting you. They have to do that in order to lock in a new source. And she says, a new beginning say, is this why he will continue to tell me how much I changed since having kids? He noticed that, because you got to remember what drew that narcissist is the ability for you to have standards, the ability for you to be loving, the ability for you to be kind. But you got to admit, after you spend some time with a narc, you mad, you fired up. You ain't so kind no more. You ain't there running in the kitchen to cook. You know, you like, there's a biscuit on the stove, find something to go with it. You know what I mean? And so what happens is the narcissist know that he's wearing you down, so he runs to get other supply. And then the new supply based on them, he's with you, so he have to reserve the energy, because he don't have a lot of energy. That's why we have the disappearing of the ghostly narcissists. They start to disappear out, because it take energy. All of you that is on this site today took energy. You took a lot of energy. That is when the narcissist was given out the most. And if you notice, no matter when you called, they were there. They held that phone. If you notice, most narcissists, they have 2 or 3 phones. They're always, always, always on their phone. They're always, always, always on the internet. They're always making connection. You're talking to them, they're on their phone. You give them, they're always sending something. They are always in tune with another supply, and they are in tune with the other supply, so they'll never allow you to rule over them, because they don't want that one person. They got too many people, and they have files, and most of them, especially when you go from the upper mid to the upper narcissist, they are very, very organized. So when they come in and they notice that your mind is foggy, they are very intentional to continue that brain fog, and to make sure that you do not come out. She said, you're right on point. She said, little at a time is transference of the narc souls to Satan. Well, you got to remember, the reason he's a narcissist is Satan already have his soul. It's not a transfer of his soul to Satan. It's transferring their souls to you, where they are taking over your mind, and you start mimicking the narcissist. You start thinking about the narcissist. You start acting like the narcissist. You start, you used to love the narcissist. Now you are complaining. You're complaining. And these complaining can cause injury to them. She said, here. She said, I reckon so much you say. I recognize so much you say. Yes, because, and if you think about it, even though they are different, their processes are the same. All of us, have the same testament. You got your gaslighting, you have your lying, but not all narcissists triangulate. Not all of them cheat. The real cerebral ones, they don't even count sex as nothing. They use it as a tool. They use it as a weapon. And when they use it as a weapon, your semantics, they use sex to glorify themselves, because they like the way you feel. They like the way you sound. They like your response. But the cerebral get it to lock you in. Then they go into the electoralism aspects of the relationship. That's why you go long term. They don't touch you. They don't need to touch you. You can take your clothes off. That don't bother them. You can go to Victoria's Secret, Fredericks of Hollywood. You can go to different places and get different nightwear that would normally arouse a person. They don't move, they don't budge. And so where women would use that as a gameplay, narcissists strengthen their minds against that. And you got to remember, loving is from mimicking you, mirroring you. They don't have it. They have torment. They are empty souls, empty holes, and they can give volumes and copious amount of fuel from you. She said, what would you do if someone was telling you constantly that his drawings got changed and people are hacking his sites and removing information from his brain and is really convinced of this? Yes, he's having some psychosis. He's having some psychosis, schizophrenia. She said, why does sex become so robotic? Is it part of the devaluation? Uh, First, let's answer this one. But he believes that's psychotic. He's having psychotic episodes. He's disassociating, and his world is different. You got to remember, first of all, narcissists live in their own world, and they bring you into their world. That's why most of the time you're like the dog who turn his head like, what? What are you talking about? That didn't happen, but in their mind, they are convinced stuff is happening, and it's not. But the enemy doesn't play fair. He doesn't play fair with them because he keep them bound and he keep them cold and keep them robotic. And then he keep you feeling and keep you pulling because your hormones are off the charts. And the more you with them, the more your hormones flare up. The more you with them, the more opportunities for sicknesses you have. The more you with them, the more you lose yourself until you are drowned out by the narcissistic personality. And the reason narcissists are so robotic in sex is because they don't feel. They feel the sex because they have nervous system, nerve ending, but it's meaningless. It doesn't have any meaning. It just have feelings. So when they finish having sex with you, they go into their purpose to make sure you're hooked. And then you'll notice that it's sex by design. They go in and have sex with you. They do all the things they've learned to do. And you got to remember, a lot of narcissists are very skilled sexually because they are constantly with new partners. They are risk takers. They won't use the sex. Most of them are bisexual. They will have sex with anybody they want to, whenever they want to, if that person would do it. And it doesn't matter if it's a family member, friend, or foe. They would do it because most of them are very promiscuous. She said, so true, very true. She said he left, Mom Life Love said, he left me when I was pregnant. And a couple of months ago, I heard he did the same thing to another baby's mama. I was in shock. Don't be. And he gonna do it again. So I told him everything about how I felt, basically breaking up with him. She said, and then he turned around and said, good morning, have a good day. Whoa. Wow. Yeah, she is saying, wow, this is so true. Hey, I mean, it's like, I don't know whether y'all remember when they used to have Star Trek, and then Star Trek used to have Data. Data was an android. He was an android, and this android didn't feel, but he had all of the abilities to answer questions, to swim, to do things, to work, to care for people because they put the information in him. He could sexually satisfy someone, knew exactly what to do. He could be responsive in sex, but he could not feel. He felt nothing. So when the lady was saying, I'm sorry for this, he was like, it don't matter. You don't have to be sorry. I don't feel it anyway. And that's the way the narcissist is. They're very robotic. Even if you take them to the height of pleasure and they have pleasure, if you notice the narcissist will start mimicking you. He would mimic your sound. He would mimic the rate of your sound, the height of your sound. He would start mimicking your pleasure until you are listening to yourself through the narc. And you almost, it's creepy. You will wonder, what is this? It's creepy. You know, you say something and they mimic it. And they mimic just how you say it. And you are looking like, wow, I don't know what to think about that. Because he followed everything I did. She was as responsive to me as I was her, but she did the very same thing I was doing. Because the narc mirrors that lets you know they're imitator, they are master imitators. They know how to draw and trace, and that's a good thing. They know how to trace the design. They put the pattern over your life, and they trace your life, and they take credit for the trace. But the good thing is it's really your life. He tells me, don't feel for thinking. Wow. She said, hi, what kind of advice do you give? Do you offer those in custody battle? How do you prove the things they have done in court? Is there a way to prove I have victim of narcissist abuse syndrome? Okay, if they don't feel, how do they even get turned on in the first place? That's a good answer. I will talk about that. He tells me, do not, he tells me to not have emotions. He's telling on himself. Why is it that we do not see a lot of this until after we leave? Brain fog. Brain fog. That's why I'm here. Brain fog. Your brain fog up. Your brain loses reality. Okay, let's start answering the question. She said, what kind of advice? Okay, for the custody battle, then she said, why do they even get turned on in the first place? And why don't I see a lot of this until afterwards? She said, can you survive in jail? Can they survive in jail? They can. You got narcissists in jail. Got a whole bunch of them in jail. They can. Probably in their element, because you got a lot of people who don't feel. They will find an empathic guy and lock in. They will punk him out. And remember, the narcissist causes those hormones, adrenalines, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. He start all of those things rising up. And when he calls all of those different hormones to rise up, it doesn't matter whether it's male or female. They are hooked and they will dominate. Yes, they can survive in jail. One thing about a narcissist to me, most of them have a spirit. Okay, I don't know why that went dark. Most of the narcissists has a spirit, and this spirit works with them everywhere they go, even in courts. That's why I believe that when you go into court, you got to be very prayerful, because they will try to influence the atmosphere. And if they can influence you in your dreams, you know they can influence the atmosphere. And so you got to make sure you tabulate, keep dockets, keep files and receipts of different things, keep tape recorders, keep text messages. You got to have proof. Never go into court and accuse them of narcissism, because there is an impervious sensitivity to that tone, and they'll think you are trying to manipulate and dominate, and they will only want to hear from a professional. And well, the narcissists usually come in and try to dominate emotions, because when they're around, just think about it, they keep coming around that judge, and the judge kind of like what they're saying. They start affecting the judge. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. Come on here. All of these things started to cortisol. They start to feel, because they're constantly dealing with them. So you have to go into the arena where you can go to the fight zone, and you can fight zone in prayer. Those of you who are not Christians, you fight the way you fight in your arena. And so if you are not a Christian, you may meditate, or some of you chant. We pray, you chant. And so if you chant and whatever book you use to your source of greater power, we go to Jesus Christ. So we use the Bible. So we stand on the Bible and we stand on prayer. But those of you who are in other religions, you have to access your sources and be strong. You are not going to go to court with a narcissist. You got to remember they're master manipulators. So they can conversate very well through that spirit that is with them. And so you're fighting them, and the spirit is fighting you with him. It's not just you. Well, then God will fight with you in the court. Make sure you keep your proof. Don't throw away your proof. Don't talk too much. If you separated from the narcissist and you have a home, you have an increased job, sometimes you want to get them back to let them know you're doing real good. And even though I left you, look at me. No, don't tell them look at you, because that's a source of income. The more income you make, the less he have to give. You allow the courts to do their job, and you keep your mouth closed over the resources, over your improvement, your increase, because the courts will minimize that because you have income, and they will think of the child. And if it's based on the income, well, if you got more income than the narcissist, and the narcissist is going to make sure that make your income seem like you got $1 million and you were making $8 an hour. Come on. Marcus, yeah, Pewitt, right. She said the courthouse is the narcissist stage. Yeah, but it don't have to be. It can be our stage. It don't have to be their stage. But you got to be equipped with prayer. She said, remember, the court never called them a narcissist, and stay calm. Watch some YouTube videos on it. Absolutely. That's New Beginning. She said, my ex-narc was a twin, and I always wonder, was his brother a narcissist as well, because he seemed nicer than my ex? Could be or could not be. It's not necessarily that the personality has to just transfer, because you got the golden child and the scapegoat. It all depends. Because just because they twin don't mean both of them were the golden child. Because sometimes a certain twin could be the scapegoat where they are totally tortured. That can cause narcissism too. Then the golden child, that can cause narcissism because their life is totally ran by the parents. They have no choice. Then the scapegoat, they're totally decimated by the parents, and they feel like they don't have a choice. So narcissism can derive from both arenas. It can arrive from both arenas. And when you're talking about how does this narcissist even feel for sex, they're human. They are human, but they just are the host to the wrong spirit. That don't mean they don't require sex, because most narcissists want children. They want to lock you down with a child. They want to lock you down with marriage, because when a narcissist want to secure their fuel, they'll get married. They will meet you, and 4 days later, they'll tell you that you are the perfect bride, and they will want to marry you. A week later, they will want to marry you, and you are so engulfed in the moment. You are so thrilled at the moment. I mean, the hormones are going. That dopamine is making you feel good, and that oxytocin, oh my God, you feel like this is Mr. Right. I've only known them for 6 hours, but there can't be another right. Next thing you know, they are in the court. And then afterwards, you realize what you've done, because the mask starts to slip off when the narcissist start to show up. And the moment the mask starts to slip, your devaluation is coming, because the narcissist know you see him and he don't want to be seen. And once the narcissist is seen, whatever is revealed is the place he can no longer hide, or she can no longer hide. So they can no longer hide from the place that is revealed. They can't hide anymore. And when they can't hide anymore, they're going to turn on the hides. You're going to have to strengthen yourself, because that is the ultimate torture. They make you pay for the revealing. She said, glad I didn't marry him by 1 month. Oh, yes, ma'am. Me too. She said, my narcissist discarded me and my pregnancy. Now that the baby is born, all of he wants to see the baby. He is doing this because we have court. He's trying his best to get back with me. Yes, because he wants to seem like the perfect father. Is idolizing a simple symptom of the narcissist? Yes, ma'am, it is. She said the system is ran by narcissists. The, the narc is comfortable in most legal settings. Yeah, because it's without emotions, it's with facts. And they get very angry when we leave, because you're not supposed to be able to leave them, not a narcissist. You're supposed to be captivated by their emotions, so you can't leave. Remember, they want you chained. You are a slave. You're a slave to whatever premises he have, whatever emotions he have, whatever desires he have. You want him so bad. Most people that they've dealt with, that's the way they dealt. These people will do anything, even kill themselves for a narcissist. And once the narcissist know that you are on the edge of suicide, that that narcissist come behind you and help you kill yourself, because that's the ultimate fuel, that you love them so much he got you to take yourself out. That is long-term copious amount of fuel. They love it. That's why once you get depressed, you have to deal with it. Don't ignore it. She said, hello, I am new to the channel. Could you please explain what we're talking about? I sure will. She said, yes, they don't like to be discarded. No, they don't like to do it first because you show dominance. Latoya said, I call him out of being a narcissist, and now I'm in the silent treatment again. She said, I'm very afraid he's going to recruit the baby and start her trying to be a narcissist. That's not the way that works, baby. She said, I haven't been gray rock for 10 months. Whoa. She said, now I have to see things so clearly. It's true when you are in and you don't see anything. Okay, let's talk about what we're talking about. We're talking about narcissists. Narcissists is NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. These are people who have the inability to love. These are people who everywhere they go, they got a trail of hurt victims. And these hurt victims, the narcissists don't feel the hurt. As a matter of fact, they feel justified in hurting the people. They need fuel. They live by fuel, and they live by the fuel of people's pain. And even if they cause pain and they pain and do discard and the person is away, they live by thought fuel. The fact that they know that person is hating away from them, hurting away from them. That's why when you hate the narcissist, you scream at the narcissist. They are getting fuel. And if you say something that hurts them, they get very angry because it's an injury. It's like a stab. It's like a shot. When you cause them to confront things, they will not face things. They babble. They word salad. They gaslight. A stonewall. They triangulate, and I mean just anything that will build for them. That is the narcissist. So the narcissist can cause tremendous effect in people's lives on their jobs. She said, on their job. She said, I have been great walk. Okay, we read that one. She said, what if you have bipolar personality disorder and have to deal with the narcissistic father? Okay, everything negative. See, if you have a borderline individuals, the narcissists try to take advantage of borderline individuals because of the diagnosis. You have a tendency to blame yourself. You have a tendency to see the fault in you. With a narcissistic father, that can be quite tremendous. And a lot of therapists, because of the borderline conditions, really don't like to deal with it. But you will have to build yourself. Get a good therapist that understands cluster B personalities or traumatized, extremely traumatized situations and NPD. And they can assist you greater than a regular therapist. She said, I was discarded for new supply 212, okay, 2.5 years ago. And he always hoovered me for sex and my booking and my cooking. She said, whatever monies he can get out of me, he wants to go back and forth between us. Yeah. I think that is like the mid-grade narcissists that have a tendency to have two individuals, and they will keep going back and forth through those two individuals. And if you allow it, you got to stop allowing it. You have to stop allowing it. You do have to make some tough choices, and those tough choices have to be made. If they don't, the narcissist will always have an advantage, and he's not going anywhere. And when one supply dies, he gets in another supply. There are narcissists that won't deal with more than two different individuals, and they go back and forth through those two individuals, and this can go on for years. And it's just those two individuals that he will come in and triangulate with those individuals, cheat with those individuals. The only way he implement another individual is one, stop fueling or discard or die out. Then he will get another one. But there are some narcissists that will only handle two women at a time, two men at a time. She says, I asked my narc, how are you making out with the new daddy mask going? And he said, will my baby be a narcissist? Let's get that back. She said, will my baby, will my baby be a narcissist? Cause her dad is. Oh, no, no, that's not true. I'm going to talk about that. She said, any advice? My son is playing football, and I'm so upset that I can't support him because last season the narcissistic father decided he wanted to invite his disrespectful new supply. Okay, that means you're going to have to work on yourself. You got to work on yourself. She said, yes, I went no contact so many times. This last time, it's been 2 weeks so far. He keeps calling me private every day. You know why, Edwina? He keep calling you because it's always work. You keep coming back. You keep coming back. You gotta not come back. Once you go no see, gone through the pain, go ahead through the pain. Don't come back. All the fog, all the addiction, everything comes back each time. And each time it gets greater and greater and greater. And each time your body goes through. And for the woman, when he bring his new supply, you have to act like it doesn't bother you. He wanted to bother you. That's common sense. They show you he has no regards whatsoever for you or the son. And he's not bringing a new supply because he care about the son. He's bringing a new supply because he wants to agitate and irritate you because he wanted to work that you are nothing and that he can get somebody and you can't. Because a lot of times the narcissists go right to somebody and the supplies goes through the struggle. They go to the healing. So you're going to the healing while he's going to the new supply. You got to build your mind up. You got to build your emotions up. You got to strengthen yourself every day. And you got to keep no contact because having a new supply don't mean that he won't hoover you. He'll get tired of that new supply and he'll be wanting to come back around again. So build yourself up because freedom means to build. So build yourself up. She said, are the narcissists like this because someone treated them this way and dogged them, hurt them, and this is their payback? This was my first experience with one. They are just cold-hearted. Yeah, they don't have a heart, baby. See, easily they can hurt and just keep on moving. She said, how will he react when I go no contact after 10 months of gray rock? She said, we have two girls and I now have someone else to deal with, to pick up and to drop off the kids so I don't have to see him. He's never going to like it. He's never going to like it. He don't want the kids, but he don't want anybody else with the kids. Anything make you happy, make him sad. Anything bring you fulfillment agitates him. He wants you miserable because you're not supposed to be able to do without him. And the young man that was saying, this is your first experience with a narcissist, I pray that you get free and it be your last experience. Excuse me. That this be your last experience with a narcissist. They are cold-hearted. They are cold-blooded. Things that bother you don't even rattle them. I mean, a lower narcissist can beat his supply to blood, almost kill her. He'll go to sleep. And she left in a puddle of blood. It doesn't bother them. It doesn't. That's why they're narcissists. And that's why we have programs like this, so we can strengthen one another, so we can encourage one another, so you can go through the breakout zone and be free. But we got to keep, like the young lady I kept going back, you can't go back. You can't go back. You're going to have to build yourself up. You don't go back for the sex when it's good. You don't go back for the money when it's needed. You figure out how to build yourself up. And some of you done been with the narcissist and they took care of you, didn't want you to have a job because they wanted to be in control. Honey, go get a minimum job and stay with parents. Stay with family. Educate yourself. Rebuild yourself. You don't have to stay the way he left you. As a matter of fact, if you want revenge, succeed. If you want revenge, build yourself up. That's how you revenge a narc. Surviving the narcs makes you a much better person. I got closer to God. Yes, it does, Devo. It does. Because really, when you think about where else you're going to go with that kind of pain, she said, excuse me, guys. She said, let me see right here. She said, my therapist referred me to a codependent anonymous. It helps. Good job. Yeah, somebody will understand. She said, I've seen that he almost killed my dog, turned around and said, well, he destroyed my plants, and then went and played Xbox. Oh, yes, ma'am. It won't bother him. And see, now that he told you that, he may actually kill the dog if you're still with him. She said, do narcissists carry out threats? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They will. Do a narcissist carry out threats? They will. I've been in, unfortunately, through the sessions I've seen some live, I've seen some die, I've seen some suicidal, and I've seen some murdered because they didn't leave. She couldn't leave the narcissist. He cut her up in front of her children and thought that it was her fault because she made him angry. And the children saw that. If a narcissist threatens you, please take that serious, especially the lower narcissists. They're very violent, they're very malignant, and some of you got malignant narcissists that are sociopaths, psychopaths, and they will carry it out. So don't take anything for granted. She said the ex used to say, I don't threat anyone, I make promises. Oh, yeah. Take it seriously. Especially when you have someone that may be stalking you. And you got to remember the narcissist is a risk taker. If they got money, they can catch a plane to where you are. They don't care. I mean, they will do whatever it takes. They do whatever they want to do. And they're risk takers. You got to be wise. Very, very wise. And maybe you got to be a risk taker. You got to get the wisdom. If you don't have children, get out of there. Stay out of there. You got children, get you some help. Go through the legal system. Go to domestic violence. Go to support groups. Get you some help. Go to the doctor. The doctor said, do you feel safe at home? No, I don't feel safe at home. They usually get you some help. And when they get you some help, they will even get you shelter. Find shelter for you and your children, and they will find programs that will give you financial assistance. They will find programs that will give you food, clothing, and then they will find programs that will assist you in getting a place. They pay the down payment up front, the deposit up front, and will pay so many months, and it will give you a chance to get a job. But you got to look for help, and the moment you look for help, that guilty conscience gonna kick in and tell you how dumb you are and how pitiful you are and how wrong you are. You got to remember those are emotions. That's not your reasoning mind. Your emotion is trying to kick in. Your wise mind will tell you follow the program. Hurt with the program, but keep the program. Follow suit. Stay focused. Don't listen to your emotions. Stay focused. Your emotions will keep you locked into that relationship. And the next thing you know, you got 10 years of torment. She said, I am out now, just want to protect my kids. I know, and it's difficult because unless you find a reason for them to take the kids away, uh, Helen looking good. Okay, let's remove him. There you go. Oh, I thought There you go. We remove him. Yeah, see, Debo, and that's why you have to stay on target, stay with him, and just keep your documents until he proves that he shouldn't be seeing the kids. Once he approved that he's violating codes, he's not good for the kids, then the courts would sanction that he be supervised visit or restrict him altogether. I've had both. She said, will the baby be a narcissist because his dad is? No, no, that you don't just transfer narcissism. Yeah, you don't transfer narcissism. You don't transfer narcissism. And so what you have to do is that that's something they grow up with. It's a trauma issue when they are traumatized and they don't feel that there's no way out. They lock deep into themselves and they become one with themselves and they start cutting off emotion that cause pains, but they cut it off so it ceases to exist in the realm of the mind. They put up barricades and nothing gets through, and they learn to live without those emotions. And what happened is the relationships they have teach them how to mirror the people that they're with, and the people that they mirror give the emotions so they live through people, and they can't live through themselves because they're always empty. That's why they always triangulate. That's why they're always looking for new supply, because they're totally empty and they can have deluge and deluge of supply. And this is why you're looking at them and say, don't you feel anything? No, not even for their children. When they feel something for their children, it's because they want a golden child that they can brag on, an extension of themselves, or they want somebody that they deny, because sometimes they'll deny your children and take on somebody else's children and treat somebody else's children better than their own kids. And what else do we have here? Boy, you all have been really good with the questions today. She said, my ex would constantly threaten me, beat me multiple times, tried to get help, but no one could help me. So one day I put some wolf band in his drink, and that was the end of it. Oh my God. So what happened when you put the wolf band? Okay, don't say it on site. Yeah, whoa. Well, a lesson well learned. He learned that that feud was too costly. And I'm sure he went somewhere else. Yeah, yeah. But when you're dealing with the narcissist, you're going to have to cater to yourself, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have to cater to yourself. You're going to have to build yourself, because the narcissist is like a terrorist. They are always out to kill you. Remember that. To get fuels, it's very expensive. It's expensive for you. It's satisfying for the narcissist. And he's willing for you to pay the price for it. He just wants the fuel. He don't care if your baby pay for it, your mama pay for it. They're very, very selfish creatures, and they don't care about your pain. She said, yes, Edwina, the channel is awesome. This channel is awesome. She said, when I was suffering, I didn't know a thing of narcissists. Thanks to the beautiful empathic YouTube, we now have a recourse. Yes, ma'am. Praise God. Oh, Debo, I love you, girl. She said, the gaslighting we all go through in the beginning. Let me get this. Is so subtle. Yes, ma'am. And she said, at some point, it is so in your face, but yet you don't see it. And it is due to the fog. Yes, yes, yes. That's why I'm doing this. She said, do empaths sometimes become violent when pushed to the limit? Yes, an empath can become violent. Don't let anybody tell you they can't. They will. They can. An empath is full of feelings, full of emotions. You drive them to the edge, they will express themselves. And they have blackout zones. And these blackout zones bring these empaths that sometimes they act like narcissists, especially a super empath that goes supernova will act like a narcissist. They will go to a blackout zone and they will come to themselves and it's all over. They've done something. There have been empaths that actually killed narcissists because they have a blackout zone. Because the empath, you drive them and drive them and drive them and drive them, and they always bounce back because they always feeling, they always hoping, they always saying, well, if I do this, he will do that. I'm going to give him another chance. No, it was just me. Oh, but maybe I did something. So they blame themselves, blame themselves, blame themselves, and boom, that supernova comes out of that super empath, and she feels nothing, he feels nothing. They are very targeted, and they start to mirror the narcissist, and they go in. After it's over, they feel guilty. After it's over, they feel like they're bad people. And then they have to go through healing because the empath, in order to go supernova, mean they were driven to the edge. They never just go supernova. It's like a bee. When the bee loses its stinger, it dies. So the supernova don't want to lose their stinger. So they would tolerate years of toleration before they don't go supernova every year. They go supernova, and usually they go supernova, they go somewhere in reprieve. And the narcissist, especially the greater narcissist, will wait till they go and reprieve, and he will try to come back and get some more of that, even though she wounded him, because the fuel is so copious and it's so good until the narcissist will risk it. But a super empath can be very dangerous when they go supernova. They usually need therapeutic care. Uh, she said, at the end of my relationship, it became cold, distant, and I started to gaslight. I turned into him. Am I a narc now? No, you're not a narcissist. A narcissist is something you become because things go wrong. A narcissist is something that happens to a traumatized situation. You know, a narcissist is like me being black. No matter, I'm black, no matter what you put on me. You throw white paint on me, I wash it off, I'm black. I scrub my face, I'm black. I am a black woman. Narcissists with their stripes, rub it off, they're going to have their stripes. And so you just don't become, that's just like you being white and you try to become black. Ain't going to happen. I mean, you can get into a tan machine and roast till you come out like a prune. You still dried up white person. And I'm still a black person. That's the way the narcissist is. Sorry for the example. I just thought that was a good one. A narcissist is a narc. So once you go through things, they make you angry, they're going to make you angry because it doesn't make any sense for a person like this to treat people like this. This boggle our mind because we love people. We feel people. They don't feel people. They don't love people. So we don't understand it. That's why we get confused. That's why we go into fog because we say that they got to be feeling something. It has to be all right because your mind cannot register a non-feeling human. You just cannot. And so that's why you keep giving them chance after chance because you think if you do the right move, do the right things, love the right way, have sex the right way, you'll blow their mind. No, you just going to blow out some time. And he get out of the bed, he's still a narcissist. Okay, just a few more questions. She said, that's what I did after 30 years? Whoa. And his friend told him never go back to her. Whoa. Never go back. We telling you never go back to him. She said if a narc can admit that he's a narc, he's not a narc. At least not for the flesh. The only way a narcissist will admit that he's a narcissist is to his advantage. Then he will. It's true. It's just their nature. Disguise, bow, everything you are, they are not. Absolutely, Elizabeth. Absolutely. Absolutely. And a narcissist, most people that you talk to won't believe half the stuff you've been through. And people tell you just leave. Just get up and leave them. Well, if it was that simple, you would have done it. Your body has been affected. Your hormones are off. Your brain is fogged. Some of you even have brain damage. And you have to get away from the narcissist to heal. As long as you're with the narcissist, the brain cannot heal. Your brain will not heal. It will not. You have to get away from the narcissist to heal. Well, guys, I pray that this was a blessing to you. You know, I appreciate you. I'm on my way to South Africa in a couple of weeks, so I'm going to be coming on live again. I want to spend some more time with you before I leave. She said, do they know that they have some sort of brain damage, or they just think they're so smart? No, a narcissist know they're different. They know they're different. My teeth are falling out from all the stress. Oh my God, new beginning. No, 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 no. She said, nope, they don't. My family thinks I'm crazy when I tell them the story. I know they do. I know they do, but it's absolute truth. New beginning. So you are free from the narcissist, right? You're not with them. She said, maybe pray with us before you go and have a safe trip. You know what? I sure will pray with you before I go. But I hate that your teeth falling out. You're a beautiful girl. She said, be safe, Apostle. Okay, I'll be back before I leave. I don't leave until the 5th of August. So I will be back, and I want all of you to join me again. I want you all to join me again. And I'm going to do a video on the mind, on the brain, and it's the mangled mind. Because that's what the narcissist wants to do. He wants to mangle your mind beyond repair rather. He don't want you to repair anything. He don't want your emotions repaired, your time repaired, your life repaired. He don't want your sexual prowessness repaired. That's why they hype you sexually and deny you and drop you, and then double dare you to let somebody in. But new beginning, I pray, Father, in the name of Jesus, I pray for everybody that's on this scope. I pray supernatural strength. I pray supernatural wisdom. I pray supernatural will. I pray supernatural power. I pray the forces of God will implement on their behalf. God, insight, farsight. Father, I pray healing in their mind. I pray that they will be a healing balm for other people. Everything they went through, God, would turn to their good. God, financial reprieve, mental reprieve, educational reprieve, even time reprieve. God, help their children that done went through these episodes until they feel inferior. I rebuke fear and inferiority in the name of Jesus. God, let them go to a no contact zone where they're able to be strong, to never go back. And God, use them for your glory, for your testimony, because everyone on this site are very powerful, powerful beings. Let them recognize their power. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, my family, thank you so much for being with me. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go and subscribe, push the bell. Every time I do a new teaching, the alert will come up and it will alert you that I've done a new teaching or I'm on live. So I'm looking forward to being with you. Thank you so much for all of you who are replying, email, responding, and subscribing. I love you so much. I love you to life, and you are beautiful. You are wonderfully and fearfully made, and you will get through this. Life does exist after narcissistic abuse, and your greatest life yet has yet to be. I love you to life. Thank you so much for being with me. I'm Helen Sattler, your destiny helper. Good morning.